Everyone in poker thought they had him pegged. Young, fearless, and bound to flame out fast. But Tom Dwan wasn't playing the same game as the rest. Starting with just $50 and a screen name designed to irritate his opponents, he climbed from low-stakes online tables to million-dollar pots against the world's best. The pros thought he was predictable. They were dead wrong. This is the story of how Tom Dwan turned that misconception into his greatest weapon. Tom Dwan Jr. was born on July 30th, 1986, in Edison, New Jersey, a kid from a middle-class home who grew up knowing the value of hard work. At Edison High, he was everywhere, playing soccer and tennis, joining the Spanish, debate, and math clubs, and always keeping himself busy. But when he wasn't in class, chances were he was at a table, shuffling cards. Like many future poker pros, he loved magic, the gathering, and regular poker games with friends were a big part of his life. On his 17th birthday, his parents gave him $50. Friends, who already saw how sharp his game was, told him to take it online. At first, he hesitated. Gambling on the internet wasn't exactly a no-brainer for a teenager. But he went for it, creating his first account and choosing the now iconic screen name, Durrrr. It was an inside joke between him and his friends, used whenever someone did or said something dumb. The plan? Annoy his opponents before even dealing a hand. He started small, grinding low-stakes sit-and-go tournaments, then moving into low-stakes cash games. Back in 2003 and 2004, online poker was like the Wild West. Most players were figuring things out as they went, and a little natural skill went a long way. Dwan not only avoided crushing losing streaks, but steadily built his bankroll. By the time he turned 18, he had $15,000 sitting in his Paradise Poker account. With that success, he headed to Boston University, paying his tuition with poker winnings. Year one was golden. Good grades, plenty of friends, and regular poker sessions, both online and with his roommates. But at the end of that year, he made the call that shocked his family. He was leaving school to go all in on poker. In 2005, with live events in the US mostly out of reach for under 21 players, he focused on the online grind. But 2007 brought a turning point. Right before the World Series of Poker, he admitted to losing $2 million over 4 months. A brutal drop from a $3 million bankroll to just $1 million. Most players would have crumbled, but Dwan treated it as part of the game. To him, poker was about variance, big wins, big losses, and the ability to keep playing through both. That same year, he pulled in his first six-figure live cash, 4th place at the World Poker Finals Championship for a cool $324,240. And in true Dwan fashion, he didn't just bounce back from that $2 million downswing. He did it within a year. By 2008, Tom was already a millionaire and one of the hottest names in poker. Picture this, a young college dropout who still looked like he should be stressing over midterms, strolling into the biggest games in the world like he owned the place, locking eyes with poker's biggest sharks, and not flinching once. That year, he proved he wasn't just some online wonder kid. He made a deep run at the World Series of Poker, hitting the final table in the $10,000 World Championship mixed event and pocketing over $54,000. But the real mic drop? Facing Phil Hellmuth, a bona fide poker legend, in the first round of the NBC National Heads Up Poker Championship. Hellmuth started that match in a dream spot with pocket aces against Dwan's pocket tens. The betting escalated quickly. Dwan raised, Hellmuth re-raised, and after a brief pause, Dwan shoved all in. Hellmuth snapped him off without a second thought. The flop came 2K7, giving Hellmuth a commanding lead. Then came the turn, a 10. Just like that, Dwan had a set, and moments later, the win. Hellmuth couldn't resist unloading on him, telling him he played the hand terribly. But karma was quick. Dwan got knocked out in the very next round by Mike Matusow. By January 2009, Dwan's confidence was so high, he issued the now legendary $1 million Durrrr challenge. The rules were simple but brutal. 4 tables at once, at least 50,000 hands, blinds no smaller than $200-$400, and the challenger could pick no limit hold'em or pot limit Omaha. If Dwan was up even $1 at the end, they'd owe him $500,000 on top of whatever he'd already won. If he lost, he'd pay $1.5 million. Patrick Antonius and Daniel Jungleman Cates both accepted. Against Antonius, Dwan dominated, up over $2 million after 39,000 hands before Antonius bought out. But against Cates, it was a bloodbath in the opposite direction. Cates jumped to a $1.25 million lead in under 20,000 hands, and the match stalled, with Cates eager to continue, and Dwan noticeably less so. 2009 also brought heartbreak for Dwan when he was removed from the Poker Hall of Fame finalist list, not for lack of skill, but because he was too young and didn't have enough live tournament wins. Still, he stayed in the spotlight until a brutal downswing hit. He lost $2 million to Phil Ivey, and then an infamous $5 million to an unknown Swedish player named Durrrr, later revealed to be Victor Blom. The poker world expected Dwan to crush this mysterious newcomer, but instead, over just a few days, Blom dismantled him hand after hand. By the end of their battles, Dwan was down more than $5 million. But he didn't take it personally. He knew the swings of high-stakes poker and accepted the loss as part of the game. In time, he would win it all back, proving the Blom run was more lightning strike than lasting trend. Then came 2010 and the World Series of Poker, where Dwan's name was tied to a mountain of bracelet bets. High-stakes pros had laid 6- and 7-figure wagers against him winning, and the tension skyrocketed when he made the final table of event number 11 as the chip leader. Suddenly, the entire Vegas poker economy seemed to be rooting for one man to beat him: Simon Watt, a 27-year-old software developer from New Zealand. The stakes were far bigger than the $614,000 first-place prize. Millions were tied up in side bets. Huckseat even sent Dwan $300,000 before the match ended, convinced he'd lost. But in the end, Watt pulled off the upset, denying Dwan both the bracelet and the multi-million-dollar payday. The high-stakes community breathed a collective sigh of relief. Through all of it, Dwan built a reputation as a fearless, hyper-aggressive player. On shows like High Stakes Poker and Poker After Dark, he constantly pushed opponents into impossible spots, using clever pre-flop aggression, blockers, and perfectly timed bluffs. Yet behind that relentless style was another skill rarely discussed: knowing exactly when to fold. Without that discipline, his loose, aggressive game would have been financial suicide. Then 2011 came around and everything flipped. Black Friday slammed the poker world, wiping out major online sites in the US. And just like that, Dwan slipped out of the spotlight. But he really didn't disappear completely. He just stopped playing for the cameras. Instead, he dove deep into the most exclusive cash games on the planet, especially in Macau. For years, the whispers never stopped. Some swore he went broke. Others said the triads had him on a leash. But eventually, other high-stakes pros shut all that noise down, making it clear Dwan was still out there winning big, just doing it in rooms where no TV crew could follow. And these weren't your run-of-the-mill poker nights. These were dream tables stacked with the world's top poker minds and some of Asia's wealthiest businessmen, guys who saw dropping a few million as nothing more than a fun night out. Somewhere in that whirlwind, Dwan struck up a friendship with Malaysian businessman Paul Phua, the man behind the Triton Poker Tour. When Phua was arrested in 2014 for allegedly running an illegal betting ring, Dwan was one of the few who posted bail for him. Though Phua was eventually cleared, the incident poured fuel on those triad rumors. By 2016, Dwan seemed to fade again, skipping even the World Series of Poker. Whispers suggested he was spending time in Montenegro, possibly playing in Richard Young's casino, though he never confirmed it. Then in 2017, he resurfaced in Macau for the Billionaires Poker Spring Challenge. In the Super High Roller, he finished runner-up to Belarusian Mikita Badziakuski, earning $275,000, his first live tournament cash since 2014. Still, tournaments were never really his playground. The cash games always called louder. Fast forward to May 2023, Hustler Casino Live was hosting $1 million buy-in game, and Dwan was right in the thick of it. The stage was set for what would become the biggest televised pot in poker history. It all kicked off when Faye looked down at the Ace of Diamonds and King of Hearts. Pre-flop, Faye raised to $30,000. Everyone else folded except Dwan, whose hole cards the broadcast couldn't read, who re-raised to $100,000. Faye fired back, making it $275,000. And Dwan called. The flop came. 3 of diamonds, 8 of diamonds, and 8 of spades. Dwan checked. Faye asked how much Dwan had left, about $1.25 million, before betting $125,000. Dwan called. The turn brought the 5 of hearts, changing nothing. Dwan checked again. Faye, his hands visibly shaking, bet $350,000. Another call from Dwan, and the pot ballooned to $1.5 million. The river came the 6 of clubs. Faye had missed everything, just ace high. But Dwan didn't know that. Dwan shoved all in, pushing the pot to a jaw-dropping $2.3 million. Faye's aggression suggested a monster, maybe pocket aces, pocket kings, or trips with an 8. Dwan, holding the queen of hearts and queen of clubs, talked it through aloud. I guess he flopped an 8. It's very hard to fold. After 4 long minutes, he called. Faye revealed the ace-king, and just like that, Dwan scooped a $3.1 million pot, the largest ever seen on televised poker. Then came 2024, a year that brought a personal milestone, his first World Series of Poker main event cash in 13 years. Battling through the early days, he built his stack to over 1 million chips before bowing out on day 4. It wasn't a win, but it was proof that Dwan still had the fire to compete on poker's biggest stage. From an online phenom under the screen name Durrrr to one of the most feared and respected high-stakes players alive, Tom Dwan has built a legacy on mystery, fearlessness, and raw skill. Whether he's tangling with the legends in Las Vegas or battling businessmen in the hidden rooms of Macau, his name belongs in the same breath as Phil Ivey, Daniel Negreanu, Patrick Antonius, and Victor Bloom. And as long as there's a game worth playing, Dwan will be right there, keeping the poker world guessing.